This is 100% my favorite thing we have done here. You can see firsthand right where one of the most famous movies in the world was filmed. And I'm not talking about looking at a piece of dirt from behind a chain link fence. You can ride an ATV right through the 4,000-acre nature reserve in Hawaii where they filmed Jurassic Park. But you can't just waltz in here expecting to see a T-Rex and hoping for the best. If you make one wrong move here, you could get stranded in Jurassic Park after the gates close. So here's what you actually need to know to make sure you get your money's worth and make it back to civilization, so you're not spooning with a wild pig for warmth. Being in this valley feels less like a tour and more like you accidentally wandered onto a movie set with a green screen. You're jumping out of the vehicle right at the biggest landmarks, so you can stand exactly where the actors stood and take all the ridiculous photos that you want. You can pretend you're running for your life from a raptor if you want to. Over 200 movies and TV shows have been filmed right where you'll be driving. It's not just Jurassic Park. Everything from 50 First Dates to the TV show Lost to the King Kong movie Skull Island. They said this is where part of the original Jurassic Park was filmed, also episodes of Lost, music videos, Jumanji, 50 First Dates, all of that was literally right here in this valley. Now, you won't stop at every single movie set ever made here. That would take days, and this is fast-paced. You have places to be. But you will stop at this one place that has a massive Easter Island replica statue just sitting out there that was left over from a documentary, which makes for a really cool photo op. Sometimes guides will offer to take pictures for you, and they'll be telling you the history of the land and some local Hawaiian legends. Some people do choose to tip their guides at the end. And it's important to know that you don't need to be a Jurassic Park super fan to be absolutely blown away by this place. If someone in your group couldn't care less about the movies, it's still worth it just to see the landscape. Now, they offer all kinds of tours here. They have horseback riding, tram tours, and e-bikes. But the most popular one, the one everyone wants to do, and the one I was just telling you about, is the 2-hour UTV Raptor Tour. They sometimes offer a 3-hour version of this, but 2 hours is plenty of time, honestly. Plus, it's cheaper, so save that extra cash for a nice dinner or some Mai Tais on the beach, and just stick with the 2-hour option. I know I've used both terms, but technically this is a UTV, not an ATV. People will sometimes refer to them interchangeably, but potato, you're going to see some dinosaurs. Now, if you've never driven any kind of an off-road vehicle before, don't panic. They do offer a very quick overview of how the UTVs operate. It's basically, here's the gas, here's the brake, press go. They are very easy to drive though. But if you're feeling a little anxious, I would suggest just watching a quick YouTube video on how to operate one ahead of time so you're not stressed. But again, they're super easy to drive. Sometimes people will actually choose to switch drivers halfway through, and that's always been allowed on the tours we've been on as long as you let them know beforehand. And remember, you're in a line of about 10 vehicles, so you're not going rogue on your own into the jungle or anything. Jurassic World is my favorite movie. And here we are! I can't believe it. While we're talking about the reality of the UTV ride, you also need to be prepared for how insanely bumpy the trail is. This is incredibly fun, and it's good for almost all ages, but it's a very bumpy ride. You will get jostled around. So make sure everyone signed up is okay with that level of jarring. It's part of the charm out here, but no one wants a surprise jostle. If you're expecting to get totally covered in mud on this ride, that's not actually what happens here. This is not a muddy tour. Now, I love a good muddy ATV trip where you finish looking like the Loch Ness Monster, but this is not that. Mud is not the problem here, it's the dust. They give you these bandanas to protect your face and make you look like a bank robber from the 1800s, but you will still feel completely grimy by the end of it. So don't plan on going straight to a fancy dinner after this. Plan on going straight to a shower. The biggest mistake you can make with all that dust is putting on your sunscreen right as you get started here. If you're slathering on lotion 5 minutes before, all that dust will stick to your entire body like you're being breaded for a deep fryer. Trust me, no one wants this. Anytime now, a T-Rex is just going to jump out and start chasing us, I think. So you know there's a lot of dirt and dust, but you also need to know it's sneaky. It gets into absolutely everything, so plan your outfit accordingly. Don't be wearing your brand new white shoes you bought for vacation on this, okay? Some people even choose to keep their phones in a Ziploc bag because on a really dusty day, it can even work its way into the charging port of your phone or onto your camera lens. They do sell food and water in the gift shop for roughly $1 million, but you can bring your own water bottle with you. You can put a small bag below your feet, but with it being so bumpy, it would need to be very securely tucked away. There's a tiny little glove box too, but it can only hold really small items, like maybe your phone and 3 Tic Tacs, so pack light. Now, it's really important to be there not just on time, but early. Be there much earlier than your start time because, and this is critical, they will leave you behind if you're late. Dinosaurs wait for no one. And the check-in is a bit confusing to navigate when you first arrive. You'll walk through the gift shop, then out behind the gift shop to a separate check-in line. Then they'll tell you to go to another spot when your actual time is called, which again is still before your booked time. That second spot is where everyone will get helmets and bandanas, and they'll check the IDs for whoever is driving. It's a whole process, so give yourself grace and extra time. One of the most shocking things for me was learning that Kualoa Ranch is actually a working cattle ranch. It's been owned by the same family for generations, so it's not ran by some massive corporation or anything. The same family has owned this for generations, and they were only allowed to purchase it because of the King of Hawaii at the time, and it's still in the same family today. And because it's a real working ranch, you might see some cows or horses or pigs on your tour too. Okay, so let's talk about actually getting to the ranch. Even though Kualoa Ranch is only about 24 miles from Waikiki Beach, it will take you a surprisingly long time to drive here. You have Honolulu City traffic, which can be absolutely staggering at rush hour. So if you're driving yourself, you need to allow for plenty of extra drive time. It's a gorgeous drive once you're out of the city, but it can take longer than what Google Maps says it will. I mean, a wild chicken could literally cross the road and hold up traffic. And I wouldn't really recommend taking an Uber or a rideshare here, just because it can sometimes be hard to find one willing to come pick you back up to go home. And nobody wants to be stranded in Jurassic Park after the gates close. I know this tour is pricey, but it's an absolute must-do activity. It's worth every single penny. And if you watch my channel, you know I don't just say that for everything. It's a pretty steep price, maybe around $150, but it feels like I'm in the movie. This is my favorite thing we've done so far. I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. You won't regret it. Whether you're a huge fan of Jurassic Park like I am, or you just want to experience the most beautiful valley on Earth, you'll have an amazing time doing this. I have tons of videos about the best places to stay in Hawaii, so be sure to check those out too.